Great to have my next guest back on the show. It's Garrett Armfield, who will be back in action on January the 20th at UFC 297 when he takes on Brad Katona. Garrett, how you doing, man?
Been great, man. Thanks for having me again. It's always a pleasure
Yeah,
talking to you.
yeah, the feeling is mutual. I'm excited to see you back in action, man. And this is a really great opportunity. Huge card, and you got a big name opponent. What's your excitement level when you found out about this?
Yeah, I was so excited. It was like almost a whole new level of motivation. Like I've always been extremely motivated before, but now it's like I feel like the reward at the end of the fight is much greater than previous fights just due to his name. And so I'm excited to get this opportunity to fight a guy that people know about, a guy that was on the Ultimate Fighter. It's McGregor's fought at McGregor's gym, trained out McGregor's gym. So it's just like it's just win-win for me.
And have you ever been to Toronto, Canada before, or will this be your first
No,
time?
no, no. First time, first time. Um, I've never been out of the country until I went to Singapore, and then now I get to go to Canada. So it'll be cool.
Yeah, man, you're jet setting all over the place. Did you imagine that this is like what your life would be like, a year or
Oh,
two ago?
no, 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 not at all. I thought it's usually because like usually just fight in Vegas,
Yeah.
and I've been to Vegas a couple times already, so it was kind of like, oh, cool. But it's awesome that I'm getting these opportunities. I don't like the taxes, but like it's worth it. I'm just like depositing right now for like future paydays, right?
Good for you, man. And geez, after your last performance in August, it was your first official UFC win. Honestly, man, that's the best I've ever seen you look. You looked amazing in that fight. It was dominant performance, round one victory over Kazama. I mean, is there anything you can kind of pick from that you wish you did better in that fight?
Um, Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got hit a couple times. And so like I want to make sure that like I'm like I do this thing where I strike and then I'll look at the guy. And I kind of did that in that fight and I did get punched once or twice that they were hard shots. And it was mostly just because it was a counter strike. So we there were still things we could take away from that fight completely. And like one of them is just moving off of every strike or moving off of combos. But other than that, I was really happy with the performance. I think I was able to really like show the world what I'm capable of because I've always known that I've had like the skills to be one of the best, and so now I'm like slowly starting to prove it. You know, it takes
Yeah,
time.
you 100% did that, my man. I couldn't have been any happier for you. Can you kind
Thank
of
you.
put into words your level of joy after,
Oh,
getting that first victory in the UFC octagon?
I was actually I couldn't believe it because I remember like right after I was like, um, but like not so much like the win part, but I think it was like how I won because from like the start to finish, I was able to dominate for like 4 minutes straight. And so I think I was just kind of blown away that I had just done that because like for me, when I'm fighting, I don't realize I'm doing that. I don't realize how well I'm doing first person until I watch the video, right? And so I was just kind of in disbelief of like how everything went. And so complete joy. Yeah, it was like a high for like 2 weeks. I just like was like watching my fight like 20 times a day. So
As you should. What did that do for your confidence, man? I mean, I have to imagine it just elevated it even more.
yeah, it did. Because like okay, yeah, I can call myself a UFC fighter, but I haven't gotten this win yet, and I got choked out my last fight. So I really don't like how good am I? Like you're good in the gym, and you're good against certain training partners and whatnot, but it's a completely different thing whenever you got to go out there under the lights and fight. And so to be able to make the transition over was very relieving for me.
What was it like traveling to and fighting in Singapore?
So at first we were in the city. Evan Elder and I got a hotel for like 3 nights to adjust to the time. We explored the city and like we trained like one of those days. That's it. So we just got time to hang out and adjust. And then I got moved to the resort where the fighter hotel was at, and that was kind of like not Americanized, but like tourist, very touristy. Um, so it was really cool being in the city at first, but I don't think I would want to fight like unless like they asked me to. Then yes, of course I would say yes, but I wouldn't want to go fight overseas again. It makes there's a couple more obstacles, especially like when you get there and you got to figure out what to order, but
Mm.
you don't know anything you can't read anything. So like it was interesting.
What were the fans like in the arena? How did they treat you?
I thought I was walking into enemy territory. Um which how I feel about this fight with Canada as well. You know, being like the American going to Canada or the American going to Singapore, and the fans in Singapore are really cool actually. I got a lot of their support. Even a couple guys gave me some beer as I was walking back, and I've heard that Canadian fans are very welcoming as well. And so I shouldn't expect it like I'm going to Brazil to fight where like the fans hate Americans. From what I've heard, I've never
Mhm.
personally experienced that, but
I've heard the
yeah,
same thing. So I got to tell you, I'm a little bit of a germaphobe, and so when I see fighters drinking out of doing shoeies out of boots or drinking beers that
yeah.
fans like toss down their throat, like I'm kind of like I don't know if I do it. What did you have any hesitation when you were given the beer?
No, 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 no. It's like, oh, somebody's giving me a beer, cool. But now looking back, I'm not paranoid, but I'm kind of like, oh, somebody could have easily slipped something into that drink, like no problem at all. That was kind of like a worry about mine. Um, I don't want to get backstage and have to do my interviews feeling real funny. That was like one of my things I thought about after the fact. Um, but like that'd be cool if that like I would want to do that after every fight. You know, I think it would be cool to have like that tradition. It, like kind of like how what's his name drinks out of the shoe. I
Yeah.
think that is actually the coolest celebration when they throw him the shoe and he catches it and then he catches the beer.
Mm.
Tai Tuivasa,
Yeah,
yeah,
Tai Tuvasa. Yeah.
that's cool.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
like
fair enough.
yeah,
It is
fits
cool.
his persona.
It's a cool it's a cool post-fight celebration for sure, and it definitely I think makes you more relatable to the fans.
I think he also gets like one dude to throw him the stuff, so it's not like the random fucking beer that I drank that dude could have spit in.
Yeah.
Now you got me overthinking it.
Sorry about that. Well, I had to ask, and maybe who knows, maybe this will be a benefit. You'll at least kind of think twice before next time someone, because you never know. Like you never know where some of these people are, how nasty
You
their
never
shoe
know.
is. So I don't know. It's just a
Yeah.
thought that's gone through my head.
Oh, I don't. I want to drink it out of somebody's shoe. I would drink it out of a cup,
Yeah.
not out of somebody's shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough, man. Well, life has been good for you, man. And the last time that we did speak was prior to your big UFC win at UFC Singapore. So talk a little bit about what life has been since. I see you got the Kansas City Chiefs hoodie on. I saw
Yeah.
on your Instagram that you did a charity event with Travis Kelsey. So that's really cool, man. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So that was a fundraising event so that we could provide like better learning opportunities for inner city and impoverished kids. And so Julian Marquez, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually good friends with Travis Kelsey, and they were looking for a combat sports athlete to kind of help out with the event. And like right away, I jumped off the opportunity, of course. Like for one, networking of that, and two, like I've always wanted to help give back to the community, and so I try to do that in every way I can. So if like for example, Marathon MMA just had a Harvesters food drive, and I love just being able to give back any chance I can. And so the fact that I was able to do that and get to meet Travis Kelsey was really cool. My girlfriend came with, and she's a huge Taylor Swift fan, and so she got a T-shirt with his signature on it, and so that like made her entire month. So um, it was cool. It was awesome. It's great being back in Kansas City where I feel like I can take advantage of these like networking opportunities a little bit better. I feel like in South Florida, I was just like a small fish in the ocean, and Kansas City's not as big, and so I feel like it's easier to like meet people and navigate, and people are more willing to like help you out,
Mm,
if that makes sense. You know,
sure.
I feel like Florida is everybody's for themselves, but yeah, life's been good. That was really cool. I got to do that, and I also got to go to a KC Sporting game, which is like the soccer team. Which I don't know if you ever gone to a soccer game before, but it's like an electric atmosphere whenever you watch them play. So really taking advantage of what Kansas City has to offer.
Yeah, it looks like you just been doing a lot of really cool things. To follow up on the whole Travis Kelsey thing,
Yeah,
was that before he was with Taylor Swift though? Because it looked like that happened maybe a while ago.
that was after he's with Taylor Swift.
Okay.
This was like the end of October. And it was pretty cool. Like the stuff we did was like a minute to win it challenge, where it was like um, a cooking challenge, and then we had to do a lip sync battle. And so I had to like lip sync "Man, I Feel Like a Woman" in front of a bunch of people I'd never met before. So that was always fun.
Yeah, man. Obviously the event went well. You guys, raised some money and
Yeah, of course.
yeah. Okay. Very cool. Is that something you're going to do again next year, hopefully?
Yeah, I told him I would love to be back next year. You know, just help any way I can back to the community. So uh yeah, and I even mentioned to them, I said, if they have anything else, I would love to do that as well. So I'm hoping to be able to do some more community events here in the future. You know, I
Very
feel like
cool, man.
we're given the platform, and it's either you can do good with it, you can do nothing with it, or you could do bad with it. And so, I want to be able to do good and give back to the local, you know, community.
That's what it's all about, man. What I do once a year is, unfortunately, in 2018 I lost my dad to cancer, and he
I'm
was
sorry to hear.
I appreciate it, man. He was a really good golfer. So in his prime, when he was a younger man, he was the number one amateur player in the state of Maine. So I wanted to do something to remember him every year and raise money to fight cancer. So I started a golf tournament in his name, and now we've grown it to this past year. We raised over $14,000
Oh
to
wow.
fight cancer here locally. So it's like we had 30 teams last year, and it's growing a little bit each and every
Yeah.
year. So anything like that, like what's what you're doing, or this tournament that I run, it's about giving back to the community and
Yeah.
doing something to leave a mark here.
Yeah. And I feel like everybody's been personally affected by cancer in some way, shape, or
Yeah,
form. So thank you for doing that. That's awesome. Did you start that yourself?
yeah, I did.
Good for you. That's
So
awesome.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, if you're ever in Maine and you like golfing, open invitation to come play. It's usually the last Friday of July is when we do it.
Thank you. I don't golf. I don't think I've ever golfed, but I'll smash some beers in the golf cart or something.
Sounds good, my man. It'd be great to have you up here in the Northeast. Before we transfer here to camp at Marathon MMA, and your upcoming fight, I want to get a couple of picks from you because Saturday UFC 296. It's a big card.
Yeah.
A couple fights have fallen off, but I want to get your title fight picks. Let's start with the main event 170. Leon Edwards, Colby Covington. Who do you see winning, and how do they do it?
Colby Covington. I think he beats him by decision. He just has a gas tank, especially with his level changing and feints, that it feels like it's a lot more energy being outputted than it is. And I think that's gonna um, overwhelm Leon Edwards. Even though I really do like Leon Edwards as a fighter, I think he's a great fighter. But I think styles make or what match styles make fights,
Mhm.
whatever that term is. I don't know. Colby.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. A lot of my friends are Leon, but I'm going Colby for exactly what you said. The flyweight title, you got Pantoja, Brandon Royval. Who do you see winning that one? Actually, these two have fought before, and Royval came up short. Does he get it done and become the new champ here?
I think it's going to be Pantoja just because he's very dominant, but he's got like Royville's got any chance to has is dangerous. He's dangerous at any point in a fight, so
Mm.
I think he could finish it at any point. I would never count against him, but I'm leaning Pantoja.
Okay. Well, Royval, he's a Iridium guy, much like yourself. So
Yeah, of
I
course.
know a lot of people in the Iridium family are going to be rooting for him. It would be the first champion out of Factory X. So I'm
Oh,
kind
wait,
of
really?
leaning him just because of
Yeah,
that storyline and Mark Montoya was what he's going
yeah, yeah,
through.
yeah.
I just feel like the stars might align.
I think so too. That would be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd
So,
be really cool. Big event, obviously, UFC 296. You're fighting at UFC 297. How has camp at Marathon MMA been for you thus far?
oh man, it's been awesome. Uh, it's kind of cool because we have no other fights on board from amateurs to all the way up at UFC fighters. I'm the only one that's scheduled right now, and so I've been very fortunate to get a lot of coaching and a lot of preparation for this fight. So I am more than prepared for this matchup, and I'm going to bring my best effort, 100%.
And I know your coach and training partner Trey just had a really unfortunate ending to his fight, the no
Yeah.
contest with Nicholas Moda. What's his takeaway? What's his feelings right now from that?
Uh, I can't really speak for his feelings, but I know from like my point of view is that even though it got overturned to a no contest, you won that fight. You won that fight. You beat him all 3 rounds, and you were choking him, and he didn't respond to the ref. I think Where I stand on it is I think they made a huge mistake and it should have gone to a technical decision. And I think there needs to be a like solid rule book where they turn to this. If this scenario happens, then we do this. If this scenario happens, then this. Because I feel like a lot of it is left up to the judges who have to make, or the judges and the ref who have to make a split-second decision. And I feel like that can be subjective.
Mm.
So I think from this fight is going to help the UFC move forward and how they're going to deal with situations like that. Because you know, now it's like, well, now both of them don't get their win money, and they're like they don't get the win on the record, and then it's like the fight never happened. Whereas, but they did fight 13 minutes, so that's just my
Yeah.
feelings towards that. He looked awesome though, and it's great seeing what he coaches and what he shows the students at Marathon is exactly what he does in his fights, and he does a very great job at relaying that information over to us. Um, and so yeah, that's why I feel very prepared having him in my corner as well. You know.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. And again, I agree with everything you just said. Hopefully, there can be some sort of change in the future, so a situation like that doesn't happen again. I have to imagine he's not pleased at all. As far as training partners go, anyone new that's come to the gym to help you get ready for Brad, or who has been around you so far? I guess.
Well, of course, Miles Johns
Yeah.
and Trey does rounds with me. So does Mike Breeden. So I get very high level look opponents, training partners, rounds, whatever you want to call it. And then we do have a lot of up and comers who are very talented who um, are able to push a pace that's like far to none. They're great. Uh, One is Alejandro Gomez or Alex Gomez, call him Gomi. He fights for FAC right now. He's 3-0 as a pro, and he's going to be a definite problem in the future. But I'm just getting rounds and rounds and rounds a week. I try to get at least 50 to 55 rounds a week of live rounds a week. So, um, you know, I'm just ready to fight at this point. I'm just like so excited, so ready, and I feel like if your fight camp goes by slow, then that usually means you're like kind of dreading the fight day to come. And for me, it's like the weeks have been flying by, and it's like I feel like I just found out about this fight 8 weeks ago, and I only have 5 weeks left now. And so
Yeah.
now it's like, man, I just want to fight next week. So it's good signs, good vibes, ready to go.
Yeah, so still 5 weeks out. You really haven't focused as much as you will on the weight cut. But what's the weight at right now?
I was 158 after training today, so it's I've been doing a lot more leg lower body lifting. I think I put on a little bit of weight there because I've always had chicken legs, and now they're like ostrich legs, so not as skinny. So I think I'm gonna have to diet a little bit harder for this one. Usually I don't have to diet until like 2 weeks out. I think I'm gonna have to do like a month out of dieting.
No kidding. Okay. Well, that might actually be a good thing with adding more muscle, for this weight class. If it could even be more of a problem for your opponent.
Yeah, I feel like the fighters are getting just bigger and bigger. Like
Mm.
flyweights are now like huge and they're dangerous too. And like bantamweights, I feel like bantamweights are still around the same size, but I think a lot of the bantamweights are transitioning down to flyweight and cutting that extra 10 pounds because now you have fighters that are like 5'8", 5'9" fighting at flyweight, which
Yeah.
is insane to me that they make that weight.
Crazy, man. The weight cutting process has always been fascinating to me in the combat sports world. I have to tip my cap to you guys that cut that much weight. It's truly remarkable. Let's talk about UFC 297, shall we? Toronto, Canada. You've already mentioned your excitement for that. Those guys, they get really amped up and excited. The fans, like very similar to up here in New England when they come to like Boston. Do you anticipate some people yelling some stuff or maybe throwing some stuff at you as you're walking to the cage for this one?
Oh, I hope so. That'd be cool. I love just the experiences. I want to be able to experience as many things I can in life, and so the dude's chucking stuff at me. That'd be cool too. I was told to wear a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey around town. Um, I heard that helps, so I think I might try to do that. But um, yeah, I'm anticipating a I really want there to be like a full crowd whenever I fight because the Singapore fight it wasn't a full crowd yet, They were by the main event, but hopefully with the card being so stacked that people show up earlier. So
Do you
expect
know
them for.
where do you know where you're at right now as far as the order goes?
Yeah, I'm the fight before the prelim feature.
Oh, great. So by the time you get there, it's going to be pretty packed.
Yeah, well, I was in the same spot in Singapore, but it was not near as packed.
I think it will be in Canada.
I think
I've
so
seen
too.
it before. I think it's going to be pretty close to full by the time you come down.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
The
no
Northern
doubt.
area. Yeah,
Brad Katona, we know a lot about him, two-time tough winner. He had that unbelievable fight with Cody Gibson in August. Took a lot of damage, both guys did. What's your
yeah.
takeaway from that performance?
Um, I think that I think Cody broke from the pressure, this constant pressure that what's his name? Brad Katona is kind of giving out with the constant feints and movement and level changes. Um, and so I think it was a good performance for the first round from Cody, but I think as the fight went on, Katona just started to do better. And I really feel like my strengths match up very well with his weaknesses, and I do believe that I'm going to be able to win the striking battle 100% and you know beat him to the punch on the inside. And I really believe that I'm going to be able to show my best self in this fight. Um, and of course, I always look for the finish 100%, but I am anticipating a 15-minute dog fight, and that's what we're getting prepared to do. Because he's never been put away. At the same time, he hasn't really finished a lot of fighters, so he's used to that 15 minutes. So I want to be ready for that 100%. I grew up doing boxing, and I love getting in dog fights. To be honest with you, it's like it's probably not the best trait to have. Is like you just love dogfighting because it's not good for your longevity. But you know, that goes all out the window with this fight. If he wants to make it tough and nasty fight, I'll come back even tougher and nastier. So it's going to be a great fight.
Yeah, and
Which
as you
I
said,
want that fight of the night. I want my performance bonus.
yeah, you want that 50 G's, baby.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
as you said too, man, this guy, he doesn't have a lot of finishes. He's got a lot of decision victories. He's a grinder. He'll
yeah,
stay in there, and he, like you said, this could be a dog fight. So do you feel like, based on like what you just said, I'm just guessing here, that brings out the best version of yourself in a fight like that?
yeah. It really does. As long as I keep my composure, which I have developed enough now, and I feel like I've matured enough now in the fight game and have enough cage time to be able to keep my composure. Because I've when I fought in CFFC, I had completely 10-8'd this dude in the first round, and then I had a terrible adrenaline dump, and I ended up getting submitted in the second round, and that was my the second loss I had. And I feel like that was my biggest growing point from that fight is that keeping your composure and keeping control of your heart rate are like major keys that a lot of people don't think about.
Hmm.
And so, um, you had to be calm in the chaos. And so that's what I've been trained to do. That's what I've been focusing a lot on is just like staying just composed, even when stuff is going crazy.
What would a win over Brad Katona do for you? Again, as I've said before, this guy's got a big name, two-time tough winner.
Yeah.
What would this do? How much would this elevate you?
Oh, this shoots me up to a much more respectable position. You know, uh, there's still people that don't know who I am, and I completely understand that. This fighting thing takes time, but I definitely believe that when I get the win against Brad Katona, that people are going to start to remember my name, and people are going to start to notice my name when they see it. Um, and I think it puts a lot of the division on notice because Brad Katona has the division on notice 100%. He's a two-time tough winner. He looked great in his previous fights. I know a win over there puts me in the better half of the division. You got the top half and the lower half. A win over Katona breaks that plane for me, and I'm up there where I can start getting the bigger names on the fights and hopefully moving up on the card. Of course.
Where is he most dangerous? Like, where do you have to be most careful in this fight?
I think where he's most dangerous at is his pressure and his willingness to like grind it out against the cage. He's got great cage wrestling and great top pressure. There are a lot of holes in his striking that I believe that I can capitalize on. So we know where he's dangerous at, and also he does use his cardio as a weapon, and so that's something that we are going to be do as well. I want to use my cardio as a weapon as well.
Well, yeah, so that's exactly what I was going to say. Pressure equals cardio, and as far as I'm concerned, right? So if he's going to be
Yeah.
pressure, 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 and that's what you have to be worried most about. Have you been focused more like on your cardio in this camp than you normally would?
Oh yeah, of course. And it's more so staying high volume the entire round. And like we're gonna use pressure to beat his pressure as well, even if that makes sense. You want to fight fire with fire, and so that's what we're going to be doing, is fighting fire with fire. So yeah, I feel great. I still have 5 more weeks to even get in even better shape, but I'm in fight shape right now. I could, again, like I said, I could fight next week, 100%. Other than the weight being the only obstacle, I could fight tomorrow and go fight 5 5-minute rounds.
Did you watch the whole last season of The Ultimate Fighter? Did you watch every episode?
I didn't watch a single episode.
You didn't. Okay. Well, then
Nope.
my next question doesn't really matter as much. I was going to ask you your opinion on the whole beef between Brad and Cody Gibson. They just didn't like, well, actually, it was more Cody that just didn't like Brad. It was almost like his aura just annoyed him. And it seemed like he could get under people's skin. I just wondered if you picked up on that or what you thought. But if you didn't watch it, I guess it doesn't matter.
No, I didn't watch it, and that could also be a factor in their fighting too.
Mm-hmm. Getting after it and wanting to kill one another.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, why that fight was so good is because they just got so ticked off at each other.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Official prediction, Garrett. How ultimately do you think this ends?
I finish him within 3 rounds. Um, if not, then it's going to be a bloody decision. But at the end of the day, I get the win, 100%. My hand gets raised. I move on with my career. I get to that top half of the division.
I love it, man. Can't wait to see you back in there. One last thing. Give me your pick for the main event of that fight. The 185 titles on the line. Sean Strickland, Dricus du Plessis. Who wins that one?
Oh, Strickland's an Iridium guy, so like of course, I want to support my management team, but I also personally know Dricus du Plessis, and he's a really good guy, and I think he's a fantastic fighter, and so I'm going Dricus du Plessis.
All right, man. I can't wait for this one. UFC
Yeah,
297 in Toronto, Canada, January the 20th. Garrett Armfield back in there against Brad Katona. As always, man, great talking to you. I appreciate the
yeah, yeah,
time.
yeah. Of course,
Before
thanks
we
for having me again.
Definitely, man. Before we sign off, as always, I want to give you the floor. If there's anyone you want to thank, anything you want to plug, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Again, shout out to all my sponsors and teammates and everybody at Marathon MMA. Thank you so much. If you guys want to follow the journey on social media, it's Garrett Armfield 135 on Instagram and Armfield 135 on X.